My guest today is the man when it comes to proxy design and corporate communications. Iain Poole is one of the first to enter the proxy design profession over a decade and a half ago. He saw something that few of us did. He's a managing director for Argyle, a shop that specializes in proxy design, with many former in-house lawyers on his team. I've known Iain a long time. We worked together 20 years ago at R.R. Donnelly, and he really knows his stuff, as you'll soon see. Not only that, he's a great friend, a thoughtful person, and has a broad worldview due to his international background and experience. I'm Brock Romanek today on Zippy Point. So Iain, what's the latest on proxy summaries? What are good examples in this space?
Sure. So there is an appetite for more, isn't there? Investors are interested in learning more about corporate purpose, ESG, human capital management, corporate strategy, and a number of other subjects that take room to present. And anytime you listen to investors, they'll also say that proxies are getting too long, they should be shorter. So sort of something's got to go. One of the areas that I'll look at when I look at a proxy statement for the first time is duplicative information. We'll often hear investors say, just say it once, say it clearly, we don't need it to be repeated. So that being the case, we've worked on a number of proxy summaries with companies that are really interested in distilling the pages down to the essential. But I think it really depends on vote outcomes and the circumstances of the company. So we'll start with Sanmina and share what I would say is more of a classic proxy statement summary. So the person that leads Sanmina's document, Paige Melching, over at the company, started working on their document last year in light of say on pay fail, which is always a challenge. So if you look back on their document from 2018, it's this traditional financial printer format. And what Paige went about was enhancing the visuals in the proxy statement and integrating a number of these themes that investors are looking at. So what the company does, financial highlights, etc., and this new proxy summary that tells the story in as few pages as possible. So Paige has layered the information with the voting item, so item 1, the board of directors, followed by what we would call a supporting statement. So after item 1, you have a mini bio of each of the directors, their previous experience, the committees on which they serve, followed by an overview of the board and how they come together as a team, independence, diversity, tenure, and age, what we would call an overview of the board, the skills on the board, and then in light of a say on pay fail, how the board has been listening to stockholders. So stockholder outreach, what the company heard, and what the company did as a result, led by the board of directors. So that's something that we wouldn't commonly see in a proxy summary, but it's relevant, obviously, after a say on pay fail. The company's corporate governance practices, and then we continue to roll through the other proposals. So Proposal 2, the auditor. Proposal 3, issuance of additional shares. And then we have more supporting detail for the compensation of the NEOs. Another question that we're often asked is, if a compensation program is changing, how to present the changes. So here we have a chart for 2019, the company's program for that year, the pay mix, the purpose and the key objectives, and the same for 2020 with new to really highlight and mark the changes. So this is a longer executive summary to the document by today's standards. Finally, the company's compensation practices, but it's justified given the circumstances that Sanmina had been through. And I believe that they had a 95% say on pay score this year. So they were clearly effective in telling their story and highlighting the changes to their comp program.
Here we have the Walmart summary.
Yeah, so the second example is Walmart. So when I look at duplication in proxy statements, obviously that means information that appears in more than one place. And what we would generally see in a proxy summary is a lot of information about the board. So a list of the director nominees, how they come together, and usually item 1 begins a document, so just a few pages later you have the same information. And in most cases, directors will be well supported. So something that Jeff, Chris, Jennifer and the team at Walmart have done is really distill information about the board into what investors need to make a decision. So there's this simple 2-page dashboard of the voting items with a very brief and punchy supporting statement. So on the first page, you have the board of directors, second page comp, and finally, the ratification of the auditors, with shareholder proposals, I believe, on the following page. So for each, the company presents a very brief supporting statement that I think that they would describe as an elevator pitch. If they just had 3 minutes to talk with an investor about each proposal, this is what they would share. So an overview of the board, how the board comes together, the company's skills and experience. There's a color code that's used throughout the document, which is that yellow are skills that are relevant to overseas strategy, blue are broader corporate governance skills, and then with regard to compensation, you can see the metrics for the program presented with the compensation mix as a whole. So it's 2 pages for the management proposals that give you a really sound overview of each voting proposal and why the company is asking for support.
Beautiful stuff. Thank you so much, Iain. For other videos by Iain, go to YouTube and search hashtag proxy design and hashtag zippypoint, or just go to zippypoint.com and you'll find the videos there.